Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I am Lola. Now, earlier this month, we did a video of 8 new to us this year spooky games. And last year, we did a video of 10 of our favorite spooky games to play in this season. Today, we want to bring you 5 games that are actually really scary, especially when you add in ambiance like candles, low lighting, spooky music. Now this list is in no particular order, and we each made our own. Now considering we're like gaming partners, there's likely to be some overlap, but we'll see as we go. For our first game, I have Dead of Winter.
I have that as well.
Now, Dead of Winter is a zombie survival cooperative or semi-cooperative game. Now, semi-cooperative because it's meant to be played with a traitor amongst you. But with us playing as a 2-player game, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So when we play it straight on cooperatively. And it's one of those games that's challenging enough that we're happy to do it that way.
Then the scary part comes in not from, am I playing with somebody that's trying to undermine me? It comes from, for me at least, it comes from the die rolls and the, as I bring that character back or when I go someplace and I have to roll that die, am I going to get bitten? Am I going to become a zombie? Am I going to lose that character?
And when you're out in the world, so you go to various locations like this, like the store or the library, and you're searching for food or for medicines or for weapons, and you're vulnerable between those transfers. You have to do those die rolls. You have to see what happens to you. And as you're there, you're also making noise, which attracts zombies. And even killing zombies makes noise that attracts more zombies. And when you get the right ambiance into this game, it can be a little freaky scary.
Especially, something with a lot of shuffling and moaning noises in the background.
And this is a game that we've had for a long time. It's one that makes it to the table year after year. It's one that hangs on. We really, really enjoy Dead of Winter.
It returns from the dead every year.
Well, yeah, and we'll even play it throughout the year too, not even just at this time of year, but we definitely like it to come out for every Halloween season. Now, the next game I've got on my list is Nemesis Lockdown.
Yep, on my list as well.
So, Nemesis Lockdown is a scary, scary game to play. So Nemesis Lockdown takes place on the Martian surface in a facility. So the aliens are there and you have to make it out alive. But there's so many things you don't know. So the ambiance is really creepy. There's the issue with the rolls. Also what you're going to pull, what you're going to draw out of the bag. And at the same time, you don't know how to survive. You have to find out what the contingency plan is and whether even if you make it out alive, are you going to be all killed by the corporation anyway? There's so much tension in this game that it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's the facility is usually dark. There's unknown rooms. There's the unknown contingency plans. Again, we're playing this with 2 players, so we're usually playing it full cooperative. But in other games, you might have not so much a traitor mechanism as in your other players might have objectives that mean they are the only ones that leave the facility alive. So there is almost a traitor aspect to it as well, and it's all those unknown elements couched in that theme of the Alien movies and the H.R. Geiger monsters, which none of this is, but similar monsters popping up out of shadowy corners and chasing you down the hallway, that it can be really, really, like you said, tense and politely scary.
Yeah, it's scary in that fun way. I just can't get enough. Now the next on my list is Final Girl. That on yours too?
I did not put that on my list.
You didn't put that on your list?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. I find Final Girl so scary. But in the same kind of way as games that we're talking about. Because you have this maniac of some kind chasing you and trying to kill you. So, and some of them are more scary than others. And you haven't played Dr. Fright yet.
I have not.
Dr. Fright is the Nightmare on Elm Street one, and that one is pretty scary. But I do find, and I play them with candles on, and I'm alone in the room, and I've got the ambient music on.
And that might be why, because
Yeah.
when I play it, I turn on the lights and I sit here at this table with it this bright and no background music. It's usually about 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, so I'm not trying to disturb anybody. Maybe that's the big thing. Maybe I need more ambient.
And considering,
ambiance.
yeah, and like an ambient. Anyway, isn't that a drug?
I need more ambient? What?
And that's the interesting thing, because when we play together, I usually put that ambiance, I create that ambiance, because for me, gaming is a multi-sensory experience. I enjoy having different elements of engaging with the theme, with the experience that always involves some kind of music. And it's amazing how much good ambiance can really, really add to the experience of a theme. And I guess you could say it even with if you're thinking about horror movies, right? Where if they didn't have the darkness, they didn't have that creepy music, if there wasn't maybe that subtle heartbeat in the background, like all of that is to build up the ambiance that adds to the terror, that adds to the scariness. If you turn on all the lights and it's just a regular day and it wouldn't have that same effect. Back to Final Girl. So you can check out a review that we put up last week about it. That's a review of the Series 1, an overall review of how the game's played. We didn't go into the individual feature films, which I kind of regretted because each one plays so differently and you can mix and match them together. So definitely Final Girl is on my list of top actually scary games to play. So Final Girl wasn't yours, so what was your third one you put down?
For mine, I'm going to go with Betrayal at House on the Hill. Again, another game where a bit of the unknown as you build the house. You don't know what shape it's going to be, what rooms you're exploring, what you're going to end up in. And then as you progress the haunt, at some point, one of your fellow players is going to become a traitor. And they're going to have a totally separate set of rules for how they can win the game, and you're going to have to try and win the game. And it's all, again, steeped in that theme of creepy things happening, monsters, sometimes demons, sometimes ghosts, sometimes werewolves, sometimes anything you can imagine crawling up out of the dark to get you. That could be what's coming at you in the haunt.
Now, the next on my list is Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, that's on my list.
That's on your list too? Mansions of Madness is based in the Cthulhu universe, and it is an app-driven game. The app adds a lot of ambiance to the game, so as you go through, it is a cooperative sort of thing. You uncover rooms, you're told what rooms you open as you go in through doors. Sometimes there might be scary creatures there, or monsters, or things hunting you down, and there's very often a strong time element to all of that, but it's definitely scary at times in a delightfully scary way.
And it's because these creatures are coming from the other world, they appear whenever. So it might look like a perfectly fine room. It's a small room, nothing that big can fit into it. No, wrong. You open the door and there he is, the biggest creature in the game. So yeah, and again, it's all die rolls, and if you're not rolling very well that night, then you could be having some trouble.
And there's fires, like you can be in a room that's on fire, the fires spread, there's so much going on, and then there's the tension that arises from trying to accomplish your mission and your goal before you all die. It's a really, really fun gaming experience.
Absolutely.
So, and my next one is Nightmare Cathedral.
And mine would be Among Cultists.
Now, Nightmare Cathedral is less scary in the gameplay element. So a lot of the games we've been talking about have a scary element to how it plays. In Nightmare Cathedral, it's all about the artwork for me. And the artwork is pretty much the underlying purpose of the entire game. So the artwork of the Polish artist has been brought to life in these amazing miniatures, and they bring so much to the imagination. Like, these images that are encapsulated within this game are the ultimate nightmares. They're just so imaginative. They just fascinate me so much, and the whole game is imbued with that energy. So even though the first half of the game is largely kind of like area control and action selection and even a tad bit of deck building as well, so there's nothing spooky about that. You even have tracks to rise up, but there's still the element of that art, and it's so immersive within the game. And as you go on into the second part of the game, and now you have nightmares on the board, it does pull into that little bit more of a spooky, or a little bit more of that scary element to it. So yeah, this was definitely one that's like deliciously a little bit scary.
And I went with Among Cultists. It's a one versus many board game, kind of designed after the Among Us video game. So you and your fellow players have all received a sealed envelope at the beginning, and one of you has the cards that identify you as a killer. If there's 8 players, I think there's 2 killers. But as you move around the board trying to collect books, you don't know when you go into the next room, do I want to go in there because that person might be the killer and they might kill me? The mechanic for that in the game is dealt with brilliantly. I won't go into it, but so there's always that fear, that trepidation of, do I want to be in a room with somebody alone, or there's 2 people in there, does that make it better, does that make it worse? So you're very nervous and kind of looking around the table, unless you know your fellow players so well that you can just finger point them within seconds and he's the killer. Why? Because he put his drink down strangely on the table.
I do that to him, and it drives him nuts because I always know if it's him.
And again, it's it's that kind of Cthulhu-like theme around it, creepy setting, and on top of that, the one versus many, and it does it really well.
It's really interesting because that one versus many mechanic can be really scary. Either the one versus many game or a hidden movement game where it can be tense, it can be scary. Are they going to catch me in the hidden movement game, or in this one versus many game, are they, even as a killer, are they going to find me out? Or as other people, am I going to die? Like, there's a lot of tension that can arise in a game like that can kind of give it quite like a bit of a fun, scary feel to it. So that's 5. So we each made the list of 5, and we're mostly overlapped. A little bit of differences there. Now, I do have an honorable mention. It's not something that we usually play within the Halloween season, but it does have that scary element within the gameplay, and that is Pandemic. And specifically for me, Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, oh my goodness, this is going to be terrifying playing it. Because you're playing it, you're trying to race to cure the diseases before everybody gets consumed by it. And it's just, there's high tension, there's high stakes, and that can be scary.
Exactly. It's the high stakes that makes it scary.
Yeah, and the game escalates as it goes. So you have that escalation, so you have that tension, so you have that nervous, scary, and so that's an honorable mention. Not something that we would normally play specifically in the season, but it can be a little scary. Thank you so much for watching us today. Now, we would love to hear, what are your favorite scary games to play?
And if you've enjoyed this content today, please check out some of our other videos, maybe the one from earlier this month or from last year with our Halloween-themed games, and consider subscribing if you haven't already.
And as always, happy gaming, folks. We are talking about 5 games.
Come on. Give it to me.
We got it. We're on our way. That's probably kind of like look funny. It's like, we were just arm wrestling.
I'm filled with helium.
So earlier this month, we did a... Sorry. It distracted me.
I'm filled with helium.
And welcome to... What?
That was abrupt. Okay.
Okay.
Huh?
Earlier this month, we did a video of new to us. Earlier this month, we did a... Maybe don't point. I don't seem to be able to handle it. Okay. Earlier this month, we did a video. I'm just anticipating now. And welcome back to... Were you doing something funny? You're telegraphing. I got through it. That was like amazing. As you're there, Amber down.
Probably be a good ambient noise ambiance. Wow.
Now I want to hear.
And consider subscribing if you haven't already. Go with that.
Sure, whichever.
Hi, I'm back. Hey, so if you've enjoyed this content today, please check out some of our other videos, the one from earlier this month or even the one from last year, and consider subscribing if you haven't already.
And as always,
happy gaming, folks.
I'm sorry, but you're pointing, but you're not going to put it up there again, are you?
Oh, no, I'm not, am I?
So that's what I was laughing at. It's like that up there.
It's a nervous tick.
The ghost, okay.
I just feel like I'm like, yeah, I just kind of wind it down. Yeah, watch some of our other videos.